everybody, happy belated New Year. My name is Bill, and welcome back to the NCAA Football 07 Dynasty Mode Explanation Series. We are now finally in bowl weeks, in the bowl seasons, and like I said, I'm going to predict every single bowl game, including my national championship game, which I'm predicting in this episode. Even though the build could have used an episode of its own, there were only 3 bowl games in week 1, so I threw it in there just to help pad the runtime a bit and also to go ahead and get it out of the way. As you can see in the cover here, the Falcons stunned the Huskies in their second meeting, meaning that the Northern Illinois Huskies lost to Bowling Green. They lost 24-21. Florida lost to Auburn, so no random appearance of the 5th-ranked curse again. Auburn won at 38-20. Texas and Colorado was the game to watch. Real good game to watch because it went to overtime, 31-24 for Texas going over Colorado. Miami couldn't get their rematch win like Bowling Green did and Texas did, with them losing to Florida State 21-14. And Tulane finishes the year undefeated in conference play, defeating UCF 28-21. And I will go ahead and at least give you an update on who won the Heisman. Spoiler, it was one of my guys. Yeah, Peyton McMahon. You've won the Heisman again. Granted, you won it your first year as a freshman. As you can see, Peyton, then Dylan Miller, and then Tristan Cox, Travis Houston, and Chris Rayner. All these 3 guys are studs on the defensive front and will be with the team. Well, at least I know that Tristan's going to be there next year. I don't know about Travis and Chris. That's the thing I'll probably talk about when recruiting comes around. But anyways, BCS ranking time. I see McNairy Central still number 1, West Virginia number 2, Auburn number 3. They decided to give Penn State now the Big Ten championship because the game heard me saying that I think Penn State deserved it more than Wisconsin, which they're number 5. Texas is number 6, Arkansas is number 7, Oklahoma 8, Arizona State number 9, 10 is Ohio State. Now down to number 11 is Northern Illinois, 12th is Florida State, 13th is Oregon, 14th is Louisiana Tech, 15th is Florida, 16th is Iowa, 17th is Colorado, 18th is Missouri, 19th is Notre Dame, 20th is Minnesota, 21st is Tennessee, 22nd Navy, 23rd Michigan, 24th Boise State, and 25th USC. And for our top 25 this week, as you can see, that's easily the biggest headline because now we're down to 3 undefeated teams: Auburn, West Virginia, and McNairy Central. So by the end of the season, we will have at most 2 undefeated teams because, of course, I'm facing West Virginia. I will detail their paths of dominance. As you see, McNairy Central 1, West Virginia 2, Auburn 3, Penn State 4, Wisconsin 5, Arkansas 6, 7th is Texas, 8th is Oklahoma, 9th is Ohio State, 10th is Arizona State, 11th is Florida State, 12th is Northern Illinois now, 13th is Oregon, 14th Louisiana Tech, 15th Missouri, 16th is Iowa, 17th is Florida, 18th is Colorado, 19th Tennessee, 20th is Minnesota, 21st is Notre Dame, 22nd is Navy, 23rd Michigan, 24th USC, and 25th is Boise State. Although, my question is who got... Oh, Miami. Okay. Makes sense. And the media as McNairy Central should stay number 1 as well. West Virginia 2, Auburn 3. So far they're agreeing with the coaches poll, with Penn State being number 4, Wisconsin being number 5. But they say Texas should be number 6 and Arkansas 7. Excuse me there, that time. Oklahoma State, they agree with them. They say Arizona State should be 9, Ohio State should be 10, Northern Illinois 11th, 12th Oregon, 13th Florida State, 14th Louisiana Tech, so they agree with the coaches there. They say Iowa should be 15th and Florida should be 16th. 17th should be Colorado, 18th Notre Dame, 19th Missouri. I don't know what's with the hate on Missouri, maybe because of the fact that they have 3 conference losses. But, I don't understand the hate on Missouri by the media. Yeah. Minnesota's 20th, 21st is Tennessee, 22nd should be Michigan, 23rd Navy, 24th Boise State, and 25th USC. As I said last week, no more bottom 10s because of the fact that they're not in bowl games. What's the point of mentioning them anymore if they're not in bowl games? So last week's bottom 10 was the season finale for that. So we skip the bottom 10 straight to the bowl games as we start off with the Poinsettia Bowl between Miami of Ohio and Utah. I know it says Miami University, but nowadays they're called Miami of Ohio. And for the bowl games, I'm deciding to go with a key win and a bad loss, whether it be a bad loss score-wise or a bad loss like season-wise that could have put you in the championship games last week. The key win for Miami of Ohio was against Kentucky 35-26. Now, yes, it's Kentucky. Back in 08, they weren't known for football back then. They're still kind of not known for football now. They had that weird year in 2018 where they were somehow good at football, and then back down the hill they go. Oh, but hey, they won 35-26. It was their best win out of all their wins I could find. And for Utah, it was against Colorado State 49-24. They also had a good win against UNLV, but the score was different. It was a bit more for Colorado State than UNLV. Both teams' worst loss for Miami of Ohio was against Bowling Green 16-18, because if Miami won, they would have gone on to face Northern Illinois. And Utah, their worst loss was, to me, by a final score of 255-0. No explanation there, because I controlled that game. And I'll be honest, the final score should have been 245-0. But because I got 5 safeties in that game. You take away those 5 safeties, that's 10 points off the board. They just set themselves up for that position. And I'd say the story for this game is Utah has had some time to pick up the pieces that were scattered by McNairy Central. Because, as you can see, those defensive numbers, yeah, they look like Miami University's going to win this one. And they're gearing up for a matchup with Max Miami of Ohio. They're coming into the game with a winning record. Miami is at 7-5. But they have struggled with some great teams. As pointed out, all 5 of their losses have kind of been against some of the better teams in the game. Like, for example, that Bowling Green game that they could have possibly won, and like I said, if they had won that one, they would be in the championship game. They also had a bad loss against Western Michigan. I was seriously considering putting that in there, but then the head-to-head matchup kind of won that one. As you can see, bad loss there. Cincinnati, I could have put that as their bad loss, but it was a rivalry game more than anything. I should have put Ball State, now that I think about it, considering Ball State's in a bowl game when they shouldn't be. But, that's neither here nor there. Now I just finished the script. I ain't going back and tapping it all back up. The Utes are looking to end the season with a big win in a bowl game. And same with the Redhawks. Now, I think Utah's going to pull out the win and have a winning record. But compared to last year's record of 12-1, it is underperforming to what they could be potentially. Now we go from the east, from the west to down south for the GMAC Bowl between Tulsa and Northern Illinois. Their key wins for Tulsa was a shutout win against Conference USA East representative UCF 37-0, and for Northern Illinois was their season opening win against Alabama 20-13. Their worst loss for Tulsa was against Tulane 42-45. Which if they had won that game, they would have been representing the West in Conference USA. And Northern Illinois was last week's loss to Bowling Green. And the Huskies just suffered their first loss of the season, hoping not to lose again, looking to get that against the Golden Hurricanes of Tulsa. And they're looking at an 11-win season. So, and whoops, that's a little bit of a sneak preview of the next matchup. My bad there. Here. And Northern Illinois stands in Tulsa's way of an 11-win season. But this is going to be a big win for recruiting either way, because both teams are in double-digit wins, which could easily help a lot when it comes to recruiting. But I say the Huskies will weather the storm, survive the eye of the hurricane, and leave Mobile, Alabama with a win. And now let's leave Mobile, Alabama to head to Vegas, where we're going to all blow our money. Wait, no, bad idea. We're going to go watch the Raiders play. Oh wait, no, this is 2008. They're not there yet. We'll just watch the Las Vegas Bowl and the Monster Truck National Championships. Between the Vegas Bowl this year and this timeline is between Stanford and San Diego State. Stanford's best win, their key win, was against California, 31-19, and for San Diego State was against Utah, 43-30. Their worst loss for Stanford was against Oregon, 40-7. They decided to turn it around, as you can see. Well, actually, that's how they opened up the year. Here was that 40-7 loss to Oregon. And San Diego State was also another Oregon team, but to Oregon State, 26-37. Stanford's been up and down this year, starting to be up when they needed to make a bowl game. They, as you can see, 3 straight wins. And meanwhile, the Aztecs are a great team this year, although they just suffered a bad loss to Mickey, 44-3. They must have known they were already clinching a bowl game. Mickey's now in their conference. We'll just rest our starters and just take the beating, you know. I mean, sure, we're going to be knocked out of the polls. We're going to not be as good of a bowl game, but we need to rest our starters for the other bowl game, you know. Whatever bowl game we get. Both teams also beat them on poor San Jose State. Finally got a win this year in Week 14, as discussed in the last episode, against Louisville. Well, they beat them by a total of 91-10. San Diego State won first, 50-10, and then 2 weeks later, Stanford rolled them over 41-0. Cardinals have an average team this year, but they should be able to compete with the Aztecs. But I think San Diego State's going to walk out of here with the win and get a 10-win season. And now, it's time to talk about this game right here. Now granted, it's not happening for another few weeks, but like I said, I wanted to go ahead and get this out of the way. As you saw, there was 3 bowl games this week. The other 2 have a total of 25 combined. So, yeah. Let's just go and knock this out while between number 1, McNairy Central, and number 2, West Virginia. Their tales of their domination of the 2008 season. McNairy Central's first win came against Miami, 210-0. Their second win came against Michigan at Michigan, 238-0. Win number 3 was against Nebraska, the home opener, 238-0. Week 4 was against South Carolina, who at the time was number 2 in the nation. I think when I started off this series, that was when that matchup was happening, was when South Carolina was number 2 in the nation. We won that one 245-0. Win number 5 came against our rival Louisville, 252-0. Then win number 6 came against Maryland, 255-0. Week 7, our 7th win came against number 11 Florida State, 224-0. Then win number 8 came all the way in Los Angeles against USC, 251-0. We scored a touchdown in the last second and wouldn't let me kick the extra point to make it 252. Then we let Alabama come to our house, and we smoked them, 245-0. Win number 10 came at the cost of LSU, who in Death Valley, 224-0. Then win number 11 was against Clemson, 238-0, but we had them come to our house. We only go to one Death Valley a year, and we used it on LSU. And win number 12, senior night, Utah. As discussed previously, we whooped them 255-0 with 5 safeties. For West Virginia, their first one came against Marshall, 31-14. Now, West Virginia scores are going to sound a lot more football related than mine. Mine are, of course, video game related. As you can see, about 664 yards of rushing, 664 yards of passing, 239.5 points per game, and negative 144.8 yards a game. So Marshall went to Morgantown, lost 31-14. West Virginia won that one 31-14. Marshall lost that one 31-14. Just to make sure y'all don't get confused. Yeah, because I can confuse myself pretty good. But I don't need to confuse y'all as well. Then they invited Maryland into their house. They beat Maryland 37-20. They beat some school named Elon on 73-3. Win number 4 came against Washington, then by a score of 31-7. And win number 5 came against a pretty game Syracuse team. That's the team that's in their conference that did pretty well this year, 37-17. Then they beat Rutgers 38-14, and then they beat Louisville as well, 33-7. USF was their biggest in-conference victim and Division I victim, 56-13. They beat a Virginia team that had the chance to play in the ACC championship game, stolen from them by Miami, with Miami beating them 24-10. Win number 10 came against Connecticut. They went to Connecticut and they went to Louisville as well, but they went to Connecticut and beat them 38-17. They beat Cincinnati. Well, I take that back about the worst beating going to USF. Cincinnati got the bigger one, 56-3, and they ended the year by going to Pittsburgh and beating them 35-21. These two undefeated heavyweights are gonna battle in Miami, which is where all of this started for McNairy Central this year. and they've had 38 wins. West Virginia's had 16 wins. You know who was the last team to beat West Virginia? McNairy Central last year. Yeah, they're going head to head for the first time since the middle of last season when the Bobcats won. Don't ask me what that final score was because it's been so long I can't remember. The pass offense for West Virginia has gotten a little worse for them because last time they were like in the top 20 in passing offense. Now they're 92, which McNairy Central has been known to cause turnovers and get sacks. They will force them to pass the ball, all with the offensive explosive duo of Heisman winners Dylan Miller and Peyton McMahon. And as you can see, Peyton's been the main reason why we have 600 yards because he's tall. We just toss it to him and he basically catches it the entire time. This year, though, we've been kind of passing the ball around, getting the other receivers involved a bit because we know odds are this is going to be his last year. Might as well start getting some of the other receivers involved a bit, That way they have experience. They're not going to want to transfer because, I'm not getting the ball thrown to me much. It's like, here, you have 500 yards receiving. Ivy, you happy? You want to stay for another year so we don't have to look for like 10 receivers in recruiting? The defense led by Lincoln Mitchell in the secondary will look to pick off West Virginia any chance they get. Now, this is if Tristan Cox, Travis Houston, Chris Rayner, as you saw, those three guys were in the Heisman running, and also true freshman Chris Pleasant don't take down the quarterbacks first. If they don't rush them and take them down quickly, then the defense will easily have chances at being able to get those interceptions that we always like to get. McNairy Central will easily walk away with their third straight national championship after the first year of this dynasty beating Kansas State. That's a random team for sure. And last year beating the Roman Reigns-led, coaching-wise, Georgia Tech. Which I know when I began this series I said I wouldn't talk about McNairy Central, but unless it was like for recruiting or something, but bowl games, I think I had to talk about them because how am I going to leave out the national championship game? And you see, I got all these other games to predict as well, so I'm not going to try to squeeze them all into one video, but break them down into 3. Actually, that's just for week 3. Week 2, we got all of these right here, so it should be an interesting bowl season. And to all the teams competing, good luck. And for everybody watching this video, hope you have a good 2021. I know 2020 was a crazy year last year. It was kind of productive for me on this channel because last year was the most videos I uploaded since 2015, and that was with my karaoke playlist. But again, Happy New Year, everybody, and I will see you all next time.